The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler.
All right, it's 11:01 on Edmonton Sports Talk. Still one more sleep away from Game 4 of the Coupe du Stanley Final. Obviously, lots more on that game tomorrow right here on EST. Lots of discussion around the office, though, and I'll lead into the afternoons on Oil Stream, EST afternoons. The Reed Wilkins show about if Knobloch is going to make one change, what's that change going to be, and all that fun stuff. So we'll get into that a little bit more on the Oil Stream today. If you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. And if you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, please send the link to EST to your buddies so they can hop in once in a while as well. Edmonton Sports Talk, and of course, the Lock Shop is brought to you by Play Alberta. If you've not yet downloaded the Play Alberta app, I suggest you toss that on the old mobile device. You got your sports, you got your live dealers on there, you got your casino, you got your lottery. There's a bunch going on over there. Just make sure you use your game sense when you're rolling with Play Alberta. A couple of bets already up. A couple of bonus codes, obviously, for you as well. Use the code YEG50, deposit 5, get a $50 free bet. And right now, this month, use the code EST Sports, all one word, no spaces, all caps, EST Sports. Deposit 20, get a $50 free bet as well. And if you want to dabble in the casino, like, what do we end up calling them? The Roulette Rascals. If you want to dabble in the casino like the Roulette Rascals, you can do that as well. Use the code EST Casino, and you'll get a $50 casino credit. So you've got that going for you when you deposit $20 as well. Couple of plays already up. I see Mark A over in the chat says, U.S. Open, baby. So pumped. Yes, this actually worked out pretty well to have a down day. Like a second day between games on the Wednesday, so we could spend some more time on the U.S. Open. Oakmont's looking like an absolute monster right now, so we'll give you our best bets for the U.S. Open. Build a little Lock Shop partner parlay. Try to make that 2 weeks in a row. 2 plays that are already up on our EST specials page. Still blows my mind anytime I get to go to playalberta.ca and see odds boost daily specials, and then above NHL and NHL specials, you see EST specials. The early bird bet is up there. You got to get on this one before 12:15 today because that's when the Jays play. Blue Jays money line. They helped us yesterday on a parlay with the early bird bet, so we decided to run it back. Blue Jays money line, SGA over 34.5 points, which I do say is a high number. He's had 38 and 34 so far. Series changes. They're going to go on the road. He shoots the ball a ton. Still, I don't know when's the last time we saw somebody with a 34.5 in a final. It's rather ridiculous. Anyway, we're riding with it. We did this all sort of Canadian early bird bet. Blue Jays win, SGA over 34.5 points, plus 297. And then Dusty's play of the day, which I threw up on Twitter about an hour ago, right before I went to 8-0 in Techmo with a win over Zach. Whew, a little bit more stressful than I thought. I did not cover my 16.5 point spread. But I should have. I fumbled 3 times, and that's basically where he got all his points. Mets and Yankees both to win has been boosted to plus 145. So if you want a little sprinkle on some MLB action tonight, Big Apple parlay, Mets, Yankees both to win, plus 145. We were talking while we were playing Techmo this morning, and I think we've got another big Techmo game popping up here right away as YouTube Trev's about to take on Matty Iwanek. I'd probably, nothing against you, Trev, I would probably set the Iwanek spread at 6.5-ish points, but it really depends on what teams you get, right? If he's rolling his number 3 team and you get the Cowboys, then maybe it's a pick 'em. But we were talking about it with Belzy and you and I and Reed. If we chatted with the guys at Play Alberta and said, hey, let's get our Techmo Super Bowl odds on there. If we created a website, you could see all the results, and we just did a $2 maximum bet, right? You're not going to sink the book. It could probably work out okay.
I would be very intrigued to see.
I think what we do is we would start with playoffs this year when we get to the playoffs. Yeah. You have a full season of analytics to look at, and then we set numbers, and you can bet on it at Play Alberta, but it's just $2 max bet. Then they're conserving. But we get to say we're betting on it, but they're conserving any sort of damage unless like 1,000 people bet on one guy.
Right. I like it. I'm all for it. I think it'd be great.
I gotta have it. We got a pretty good thing going over there with him right now. I'm gonna have to have a chat with him.
Yeah, just see.
Just to see. I know
curious.
this sounds crazy, but
What are your thoughts on this?
Spency 5 cents. He says Coob plus 15.5 points on the spread. You know what? I was pissed because we did set the spread in mine and Zach's game. I'm 7-0. He's 1-5. We set it at 16.5. I said at 16.5. You had it even higher. You had it at 30. I score a touchdown. He gets the ball. Doesn't gain a yard. Punts. I get the punt. I fumble the punt. He scoops and scores. So it's 7-7. I get the ball again. I drive down and score. Then I get the ball again. I fumble. He gets the ball, kicks a field goal after not gaining a yard. And we get to halftime. It's 14-10. He has no first downs and no yards gained. And it was 14-10. It was just like one of those games. And then it was still 21-10. And I'm driving to cover the spread because I'm like, you know what? Can still win this thing by 18, cover the spread. And threw an interception, I think, or maybe it was an interception. So it was an interception and 3 fumbles, and he didn't have a turnover. And so I'm blaming the lack of a cover on some unfortunate things. But that's without actually having spreads. Can you imagine how fired up we'd be even if you had like $2 on this? Let's bring in Haas, who's just sitting there watching, must be like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. Haas, what's up, buddy?
This is right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Raise the limits.
Well, you can watch the games, right? We stream them live. So you can watch, I love that. Raise the limits. Let's go. $5, $10 minimum bet.
Listen, if there, I can assure you that if there is the ability to put a small wager on the EST Techmo Bowl playoffs, Twitch viewership will rise, and I know the nasties are going to get a piece of theirs. What was the spread in the game against Zach that you guys?
We said, I thought Trev said it should have been 30. I sort of conservatively set it at 16.5, and I was up by 11, driving with 3 minutes to play, and turned it over on his 20, or else I would have covered. Like, that's a bad beat right there. That's a bad beat. Yeah.
Well, ball security is everything, man.
Yeah, you're right. It is. That's true. Yeah, he was the Niners. I was the Chargers. I had Junior Seau. He could not run the ball to save his life, so I was all over him with Junior Seau. But then he did. I think he found Jerry Rice in one play and got a touchdown out of that too.
Zach on winning a game though. I mean, he got his first win.
Yeah, he beat Glue Guy too, and Glue Guy had a pretty positive start. Now he's lost a couple. And Matthew Iwanek, who goes going into the season saying, I'm the best player in the whole league, has started the season 3-3 and is about to go head to head with Trev right now. And if Iwanek falls to 3-4 to start the Techmo season, that's the biggest storyline we've had since we launched EST. Nothing against 2 cup runs. There's 7 of us playing. 4 will make the playoffs.
Is Iwanek in danger of missing the playoffs?
I mean, I think it comes down to his 4 head-to-head games against Trev. So we could do a 30-minute Techmo show every day, which is sad, but we could do it. VR Montenegro says, I'm not betting on Techmo unless there is drug testing. And then Big Uke says, and if you're not juicing, you're expelled from the league. Like what it should be, we should have to have a breathalyzer next to the machine, and then we blow. And if you're not 0.03, you can't play. Like you got to be.
LTE will be the administrator of all testing.
He doesn't play. Speaking of breathalyzers, it's a weird transition, but you would have loved this. I was whipping out to get gas in my truck around 9:40 this morning, and I step up into our hallway here in the business, like in the building, and there's 2 cops walking down the hallway, and I like in their cop gear. I was like, oh. I said, hey guys, anything I can help you with? They're like, yeah, we're here to execute a warrant. And I was like, what? They're like, we're just messing with you, Dusty. We're just here to buy some hats. I was like, oh, you're killing me. I was like, I panicked for like a brief second. They let it soak for 1 second. And I instantly thought, who is it? Which one of my guys has a warrant out for their arrest?
LTE minus 2,000. Let's play the odds here. Let's get the line. Who are the cops arresting at EST HQ?
Yeah, I love that. Lieutenant Eric minus 2,000. No, but they were good. They popped in, took a picture, bought some hats, And it was that was a fun one. That was a nice visit today. So I know we're in good hands with the Popo now. So that's nice to see.
Stay on the right side of the law, fellas, and you won't have any warrants executed during the morning show at EST. How's the day after? Where's the vibe check in and around everyone with the extra day before the next game?
You know what I said? I thought the extra day sort of helps the fan base at least. You know, like freak out mode yesterday, you would have been in full blown panic mode still today because it's another game. But now it's kind of a chance to reset today. Yep. You're only down 2-1. You're 18-2 in your last 20 games between games 4 and 7. You have Connor McDavid on your team. So yeah, I think today was a much more enjoyable morning show than yesterday's morning show. I would say that. So
I think the extra day is great for Edmonton, to be honest. I mean, and I know the guys were saying on the broadcast, oh yeah, you'd probably like to just get right out there the next day and wash this one. But, you know, with the stakes being what they are, I think, you know, a little bit of rest. I mean, getting the guys as healthy as possible. Now, listen, it's the same thing for Florida. They're going to be, they had a few bumps and bruises, I'm sure, more than normal after game number 3. So it might help them. But this is all about being in the mental state to go in and do what they have to do to beat the Florida Panthers. So I'm here for it. And to be honest, I don't know, people have been complaining. We do want to sort of get on with it, but I do really think that, you know, the extra days of this series so far is, you know, giving us some pretty amazing hockey. Now, again, game 3 wasn't up to the incredible standard that game 1 and 2 was, but
those first 2 were incredible, right? Like,
dude, some of the greatest cup games ever. I mean, if you didn't, after the first 2 games of this Stanley Cup Final, we're sitting here going, this is an all-time classic, one of the greatest ever. Now, it's tough to do that every single game. The Oilers are going to need to be a heck of a lot better to get back into the first column and have this one being close and potentially win it. But I think we've seen throughout this playoffs that they have the ability to do exactly that. And I got full confidence that, you know, despite being shut down the way they were in game number 3, this is the statement game, the statement time for 97 and 29 to go out and make that happen and be those difference makers. And I think they do it. I can't not wait for tomorrow night, even though, like you, will kind of be paying close attention to the game while taking in a certain CFL matchup that everyone around here is looking forward to.
You know what? I think a lot of the and I get it because it is the most recent game, but I think a lot of the overreaction after game 3 is just based on just game 3. You know, like, we have to remember these 2 teams, it could have been 2-0 either way in the first 2 games. You know, like the first 2 games were very evenly played hockey games, right? Like, I think I read more into those 2 games than I do, you know, a game that ended up having a third period that wasn't even essentially a hockey game. You know, so I think there's been a little bit of overreaction on that front just from game 3, unless people think that's just what the Oilers are going to be the rest of the way. But that means to me, you haven't watched the Edmonton Oilers in these playoffs so far. I mean, they bounced back very nicely. So we'll see what ends up happening in that game. How are things in Winnipeg, Huss?
Well, things are good. I mean, listen, we, like everyone, it's been weird because, you know, the Jets had a run, then they're done. So now we're obviously locked into the Stanley Cup playoffs. But, you know, the CFL and the Bombers are a big deal around here. They're hosting the Grey Cup. And last week was just such a weird week with the CFL starting and the Bombers not playing. And by the way, did you ask Osh about, we were kicking around that question I hate you with on the show yesterday. Would you rather be the team that hasn't played yet, that's rested, or the team that actually has played, albeit turning around on the road on a really short week? Very interesting matchup with the different paths that the teams took to get here. And then, of course, Buck Pearson, his first road game as a head coach, going back to where he had all his success cutting his teeth in the profession.
Yeah, you know what? I asked Brady Oliveira about it, and I asked Strevler about it yesterday, and you know, it was interesting because one of the things we didn't discuss yesterday, I think, because we talked about team hasn't played, against a team that played well, but they're coming in a short rest, so that could be the advantage. But the one thing that those guys kind of talked about a little bit is that the BC Lions don't have any game film on the Bombers from this year so far, which I think really sort of levels the playing field over any sort of other advantage you have from already playing. Whereas the Bombers would know a Buck Pierce offense relatively well anyway, but they would have a look at the Lions against Edmonton in week 1. So I think that that factors in there as well, kind of significantly. So that's kind of the sense I got yesterday. You know what else? Mike O'Shea, yesterday are you familiar with the Minecraft movie Huss with Jack Black and stuff?
I mean, I've heard of Minecraft. Okay. I did not know. Yeah. I'm a big Jack Black guy. I didn't know there's a movie.
There's a movie, and Jack Black is the star of it. And he's got this song that's very popular now called Steve's Lava Chicken. And my kids absolutely love it. And it's a classic Jack Black song. You know, Jack Black sings, and it's like, Steve's Lava Chicken is tasty as hell. Like, anyway, Osh makes a joke about a chicken jockey joke from that movie yesterday on our Zoom calls, and I started laughing. And then when it was my turn to ask him some questions, I said, I've taken my kids to that movie twice. And he goes, I love Steve's Lava Chicken song. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, there's a 6-minute extended version. He goes, sometimes I put it on in my truck and I'll drive around in my truck listening to Steve's Lava Chicken. And my kids, so I get home yesterday, I tell Marshall, I'm like, hey, you know Steve's Lava Chicken? And Marshall's like, it's as tasty as hell. I was like, Coach Osh from the Bombers also loves that song. And Marshall was like, what? So it was totally, great tune. I love it too. But that's the type of stuff we get from some of those calls. It was kind of funny.
I guess the kids right now, despite the love of Steve's Lava Chicken, probably not quite old enough for the full Tenacious D catalog. Well, they're big fans of Jack Black.
Funny story. We do listen to Tribute quite often, which is a great Tenacious D song. And then one morning we were talking. I think it was at breakfast or dinner. It was dinner, and we had been talking about Jack Black because we just watched School of Rock and Tenacious D and stuff. And I said, here's another one. And I was like, hey, Siri, play Kickapoo. And so Kickapoo came on, and and I didn't remember, but it's like, it literally starts with a long effing time ago in a town called Kick, and the kids were like, oh, and Tammy's like, why would you play this at dinner? I was like, well, sorry, I totally forgot that it started with an F-bomb like 3 words in. So yeah, that was got to be careful with that Tenacious D. I like Tenacious D. I'd love to see those guys in concert. That would be fun.
Oh, no, I'm not sure. Are they still able to play? Like, didn't KG get canceled?
Something happened with Kyle Gass. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. And I think it was kind of a fallout with him and Jack too, wasn't it?
It was Trump related. It was.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but I remember what you're talking about. I don't remember the exact thing. So, but yeah, Jack Black's, I find him to be absolutely hilarious. Spency 5 cents in the chat says Tenacious D is 100% kid material.
Might have a bleep or two and a couple of content of the song. You might have some explaining to do. We did. We won a karaoke contest in college singing a Tenacious D song. Me and some of my buddies. We were up on stage. Not even karaoke. Like we were just singing it. It was one about making love to somebody gently. And I believe her gently. Wow.
Yeah.
Geez.
Yeah. And we nailed it. We ended up winning the contest at Lethbridge Community College in the barn down there. Those are good times. Best of times. Anyway, I don't think my kids will listen to that one. All right. We're going to get to U.S. Open picks here as well. Drew Brown is not going to play us. He's out for the Ottawa Red Blacks. So if you want to smash the Montreal Alouettes, you might want to do that right now. Don Brennan, 10 minutes ago. Ottawa Red Blacks news. Drew Brown, unspecified injury, will not dress this week for Ottawa. So that's a big loss. I mean, the guy's walking 350 yards because of how much they throw the ball. Adjust your fantasy lineups accordingly with his receivers group. I believe Matt Schultz is next guy up there. And when it says unspecified injury, I mean, he did look like he hurt his hip when he got sacked by Carney. Was it Carney? Anyway, he took a sack right up the middle and it looked like he banged up his hip. So
That's tough for Ottawa. I mean, they are staring 0-2 in the face. They got Montreal coming in. It'll be interesting to see now that this news is out, how this line is affected, because yesterday when we talked about it was actually Ottawa that was a slight favorite in the game. I mean, very close to being a pick'em. But just seeing that that's sort of flip-flopped, and now it's Alouettes -1. Like, I'm looking at -119 here on Montreal, -102 on Ottawa. Like, I like Montreal when Drew Brown was playing in this game. But I am interested. So this is a Friday night game. This is going to come up. Where do you think this game ends? What do you think the closing line is on Montreal and Ottawa?
I think it'll be more than a field goal.
Really? Okay.
I think like I would have it more than a field goal. I think Montreal is that good. I think Drew Brown's that important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I think it would probably end up being 3.5. Maybe 3.
Did you make any preseason futures for CFL, like on MOP or anything like that?
Not on MOP. We discussed it a lot. My futures were on some unders.
Yes.
The couple that I hit that I mentioned on the show with Pimpleton and Keyshawn Johnson. Keyshawn Johnson had some flashes last week where I started already to get worried about that 1150. But I just think Emilus is going to be such a ball hog in that offense that I don't necessarily have to be overly worried about it. But he can play. Keyshawn Johnson's a good player. And there's a few other ones that I sprinkled in as well. But I think I took Nathan Rourke on the over for the yards. Can't remember the number. But yeah, I didn't go too heavy on like MOP stuff. Although I heard you say, I listened to CFL 110, and you talked about, didn't you sprinkle Davis Alexander?
I did.
Yeah.
Smart
move.
And listen, I mean, we often see, I mean, just think of when Chad Kelly won it. I mean, if you have the best team and the quarterback takes you there, he's probably going to be the guy that gets it. I just thought at 10-1, Alexander, with the weapons that he has and the way this team is set up this year, was some good value. Although I did put a sprinkle on VA as well at 20-1. And, you look at putting up 38 points in the first game's great, but then his numbers weren't there. He had 0 TDs, 2 picks. They ended up getting their touchdowns on the ground. But the fact that they got that win, and again, this is going to be a wager that if the Calgary Stampeders make the playoffs, for instance, just from, where they're starting, VA, I think, is going to get a ton of love on that one. So, yeah, pretty nice start. But no one had a better start when it comes to CFL futures than you with the Khalil Pimpleton under.
Yeah.
Because he caught 1 catch for 4 yards or something like that. I mean, basically was a non-factor.
It was a quiet night.
Monster games.
And you know what else I feel? Yeah. Like I was viewing that Pimpleton play because of Geno Lewis being there and Justin Hardy obviously still being a stud. But then a huge game for Addison. And that Keelan White, who they drafted this year, he got some balls and he looked pretty good. So I feel even more confident about the Pimpleton under 1150 than I did even before the season. And then now you mix in this Drew Brown injury. Who knows how long he'll be out for.
One roster note for those of you that are thinking about hitting the Bombers and Lions game tomorrow. Apparently Strevler and Patty Neufeld had a collision in practice. And the Bombers have put out their starting offense and starting defense for the depth chart. Neufeld is listed as a game time decision right now. And, I mean, they're already bringing in Vanterpool. Liam Dobson's gone. You've got Randolph in at right tackle. Patty Neufeld's an important part of that offensive line. So you hope that he'll be able to go tomorrow night from a Bomber perspective, because if not, you're going in and, very taxing. And I think the offensive line is going to be leaned on to really just move the pile and help really establish the run game with Strevler in. It's kind of the funny thing you just mentioned about, BC not having tape on the Bomber offense. Their week 3 opponent is not really going to have much tape on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers either, because You're going to see a Strevler-led offense in week number 1.
Yeah.
Or week number 2, as it were. And then coming out for the following week, it's going to be the first crack at Zach Caleros with all the new receivers and the movement. So cannot wait for it. But yeah, we've seen a little bit of line movement towards Montreal. I think that continues. If you like Montreal, I'd suggest get it now because I don't think that's going.
Now would be the time to get on the Alouettes with Drew Brown out. And that was announced on Twitter, 20, 30 minutes ago. So, that would be the time. Money line, I'm seeing minus 133, and then you can get some totals, some spreads on there as well. Huss, before we get to U.S. Open, and there's lots to get to, I've got actually another bone to pick with Liv. I'll get to that in a second. But NBA tonight, what do you think happens as this series shifts to Indy, buddy? What's your feel right now on the Thunder and the Pacers?
Well, I listen, full disclosure, I have OKC in 5. So
gentleman's sweep, I see.
Well, listen, I think that's certainly on the table and possible. I mean, it's pretty wild to see that they are. What is this still? I'm just going to pull it up. Still 5.5, 5.5 point road favorites. Over Indiana, considering the way Indiana came back and stole that game, they've basically done that once in every single series. A game that they have no business winning, that they win, and then all of a sudden they're there. Like they'll have a huge boost from the home crowd tonight. But we've also seen OKC, lose to Denver at home and then quickly make that up when they get back out on the road. So I think I'm going to ride with the Thunder tonight to cover the spread and win this one going away. And I think that if they can get this one, then I think OKC in 5 is still very much on the table.
We were talking about it on our show this morning because we rode the Jays yesterday on our early bird bet and we hit it with a Barger RBI. So we put the Jays back in, and they're starting here in about 40 minutes. We put the Jays back in, and we're riding a Canadian high, and so like, we'll take the SGA over. So we put that into the parlay. But that total, I'm looking at 34.5 right now for this guy, which is just, and he's had 38 and 34. He scored the most points in the first 2 games of an NBA Finals appearance for a guy in the first time ever, surpassing the record set by Allen Iverson. It's a crazy number. They're on the road, but where do you come out? And I think the number on the over is the minus number. Like it's plus if you want to go under. Do you think SGA's got another 35, 36 in him for a third game in a row?
Well, if they're going to run away with this and, cover the spread, then probably. But that's huge. I mean, like
huge number.
They could win by 20 and have him get 32.
Yeah.
Like
I got his game log up right here because let's see here. In game 2, their win, only played 36 minutes. In game 1, he played 40. So just break down these numbers. In game 2, he played 36 minutes, was 11 for 21 from the field, and then had 12 free throws for 11 points. And then in game 1, he played 40 minutes, took 30 shots, only hit 14 of them, and then was 7 of 8 from the line and finished with 38. And 3 of his field goals were threes in that game. And, he's not a huge three-point shooter, but he had 3 in that game. That put him up to 38. So, I mean, he's just massive, massive shot volume from him. If he has any sort of decent night, 30 is going to be an automatic. And then it's just a matter of how many trips to the line. Does he hit more than 2 threes? That makes a big difference. I think that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, he does it in so many different ways. I mean, it's hard to bet against him, but that's why we're seeing numbers that are so.
I just think it's a monumental number. That's why I wanted to bring it up. Like it's just.
Hey, I don't know whether I asked you this question. Forgive me if I did, but this is so fascinating. Let me give you a scenario. OKC finishes the job. They win it in 5 or 6 games. SGA is the NBA Finals MVP.
Okay, where's this going?
So he is NBA MVP, wins a championship, and is NBA Finals MVP. SGA. Connor McDavid, leads the Oilers back, and they win the Stanley Cup, and he wins the Conn Smythe Trophy.
We're talking Canadian Athlete of the Year.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Who wins the, whatever it's called now, the former Lou Marsh Award, Northern Star, I think it's called.
If
SGA has won it before, McDavid has never won it. I guess you can include the golden goal that McDavid won at the Four Nations.
For Canada.
But again, NBA MVP, champion, finals MVP. Like just that on its own looks like it's almost impossible to beat.
It does, but I think however we want to approach voting, and who votes, like we all, like a lot of people vote on this. I think I remember it's having like a window for a while.
It is a panel of people from across the country. I've voted on it a couple times.
I think back at 1260, I voted on it a few times.
And it's a very interesting, like I will say the panel will always lean towards some of these more obscure sports.
Yeah.
Especially on Olympic years. But I don't know that there's anybody that can compare with either. Like if the Oilers win,
I think if the Oilers win the Cup and McDavid would win the Conn Smythe in that situation, I bet you he probably wins it. I bet you he wins it, even without the regular season. Even without the regular season MVP love, I think he probably wins it. And you mentioned the golden goal in there for your nation, and I think that might factor in a little bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what the answer is, but it's just why. Like, and again, there's some work to be done for Connor to take care of the checks on his box. But I'm fascinated by that because on the surface, a Canadian winning the NBA MVP, the championship, and Finals MVP seems like it would be the lock of the century. If I told you that in advance, it'd be minus 1,000.
How do you factor in McDavid would be bringing the Stanley Cup back to Canada for the first time since '93?
I mean, does that?
I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, from a voter's perspective. Like,
I mean, I guess there could be some sentiment. I mean, we're just talking about who was the best athlete in the year. Like, I don't know if 94 through 2024 should matter in that, but it might. Yeah, and I don't have the answer, but it would be, and I'll tell you what. Smart books, if we get to that point, we'll get a line out on that early.
Yeah.
And that will be something we will be able to debate from July 1st till December 21st or whatever day that it is.
A good 6 months of debating.
Well, and I guess the other thing is, I mean, we do have to think, I mean, there's always recency bias. The start of next season, I'm sure will, I guess, play into it as well.
Yeah, I guess technically because it's 2025 calendar year, right?
But let us know in the chat, in the theory that Oilers win the Cup, McDavid wins Conn Smythe, OKC wins the NBA championship, and SGA wins the Finals MVP to go along with his MVP. Go for there. Yes, Sheesh, the swimmer McIntosh will win everything.
Summer McIntosh is a monster, man. She's a beast.
Well, they always go with no, did she not win last year?
I think she's already won one of these, hasn't she? Let me take a look. She must have.
Like, I'll say this. And listen, Summer is an absolute phenom. She just set a world record, maybe 2 on the weekend.
Yeah.
So she is sort of in a special class. But I will admit, I thought that, I mean, like when Penny Alexiak won it, I'm like, guys, what are we doing here? Like, it's great that you get medals. I don't want to say it's easy to get medals in swimming. Swimmers are going to come at me hard on this. But you know what I'm saying? There's so many events. Unlike, I mean, you don't get 3 cracks. There's not 3 different opportunities to win if you're a hockey player or a basketball player or anything else. And sometimes those events like swimming, track and field, gymnastics, there's the opportunity for plenty more medals.
I've got some Northern Star Award trivia for you, or Lou Marsh, whatever, the combination of it. Since 1990, 3 Canadian athletes have won this award twice. Nobody else has won it more. For the most part, people only win it once, but 3 people have won it twice since 1990. Can you guess who they would be?
90. Steve Nash?
No. He only won it once, and that's a guy with back-to-back NBA MVPs.
Okay.
3 different sports.
3 different sports. Is there a tennis player there?
No, there's not a tennis player.
Okay.
Two of them are team sport athletes, and one of them is not a team sport athlete.
2 team sport athletes. Since 1990. So all of Gretzky.
One of them's pretty obvious. You'd be like, oh yeah, I totally should have got him. Hockey.
Well, I mean, I would say Gretzky, but
no, since 90, right? So
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Mario?
Sidney Crosby.
Sid, okay.
Sid got it in 07. He got it in 09. Since then, actually, since Sidney Crosby in 09, only Carey Price has won it from hockey, which is pretty wild.
What about Alphonso Davies?
Alphonso Davies has won it once. He won it in 2020. The one guy is a baseball player.
Oh, Larry Walker.
No, Joey Votto.
Oh.
Joey Votto won this thing twice. He won it in 2010 and 2017.
Okay, and then who's the individual? This is a speed skater.
No, auto racing.
Oh, auto racing. Villeneuve
won it in 95 and 97. Fun little trivia.
Yeah.
I'm just looking back. Gretzky won it in 83 and 85 and 89. I think he's the only 3-time winner.
Just give us a rundown of the last 10 years.
Okay, here's the last 10 years. Then we'll get to our U.S. Open picks. Summer McIntosh last year, SGA the year before that, Marie-Philippe Poulin the year before that, Damian Warner, track and field in 2021. And then in 2020, it was a split between Alphonso Davies and Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. And then 2019, Bianca Andreescu, 19, Kingsbury, 2017, Joey Votto, 2016, Penny Oleksiak, and then in 15, it was Carey Price.
Yeah, so you look at like 16, Penny, 18, Kingsbury. I mean, they always focus in on the Olympic athletes that year. And that's why Summer winning it last year made a ton of sense. But to Sheesh edits, I doubt she wins it this year, despite the fact that you could make a very compelling argument that she should win it just because of where she stands in her sport. But again, I'll make that same argument with SGA and with Connor McDavid right now, especially if they win championships. So anyway, we'll have some fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That was a good question. That's a good.
We've never got into Lumar or Northern Star conversation in June. But I think that speaks to where our Canadian athletes are right now.
They're good. Jared Wilson over says, Summer is on track to be the best swimmer ever in the world. Full stop. There's no better athlete in Canada right now than her. And I mean, she's insane. Great to watch her in the pool. All right, let's slide over to the U.S. Open. Huss, we got about 10, 12 minutes before we got to let you go. I do want to, I said I had a bone to pick with Live Golf. And it's because one of my favorite guys to go and read their PGA Tour previews, Matt Vincenzi, is now working for Live Golf.
Live guy.
Which pissed me off. I was just like, what? Come on, man. He was one of my go-to guys for all the information and the comparisons. He used to have great articles on the PGA Tour events. And Liv he must have given him the big bucks. Liv probably gave this guy like $12 million a year to go right for him. So he's now gone. So that's I'm angry at Liv right now.
Where are you at on Scotty Scheffler? I mean, less than 3-1 to win this tournament.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Like it's a strong field. And I mean, I get Scotty at inside 3-1 at, a lot of these other events, it still blows my mind, but he is that good. But I can't do it at this one, man. I'm not going much further down the list. Like Bryson, I'm on Bryson. He's won 2 of these in the last 5 years. He's been great at majors recently. Let's see, T2 at PGA, 5th at the Masters. It's still a shorter number than, the Rorys and the Xanders and those next guys, but it's still twice as much value on him than on Scotty Scheffler. So I do like, I just said, as an anti-live right now because of them taking Vincenzi to write for him, but I still like Bryson. He's one of my 3 outrights.
Yeah, I was chopping this up yesterday on the program. We'll do some more on that. Feinberg's jumping on to join me today, which should be fun. Listen, I'm the same thing. It's just way too short of a number. Scheffler has traditionally been very good in first rounds as well. Now, I mean, it's always fun to take some longer shot first round leaders. But if you can get in and around 12 on Scheffler, instead of betting him to win the tournament, maybe you just try and see if he can, win the first round and be ahead. He usually will hold on, but much rather have a 12-1 than a plus 280. Listen, I think you can make a really compelling argument for DeChambeau, and I certainly expect him to be there. I mean, if you're looking at top 5s, top 10s, I think that's a place that you're going to want to go. I'm skipping Jon Rahm, and listen, after what I saw last week at the RBC, I'm skipping Rory as well.
Yeah, it's too risky, I think.
Rory said that he played a practice round, and he shot 81 and finished birdie. Just to give you an idea about how hard this course is playing right now. I can't wait to see what these scores are. But I'll tell you what, I do really like Ludwig Oberg. He was up and down at the Canadian Open. I think he's sort of been up and down so far this year, but he has such a brilliant all-around game and can hit it straight, which is very important. No one that's spending too much time in the rough is going to be winning this tournament. And actually, I got him at 27. I see he's at 22 now. And the other guy that no one is talking about that I couldn't help but bet based on the number is Xander Schauffele. Xander built for events like this. He has his 2 majors now, Dusty.
Yep.
And, I just think that maybe it's because of the year that he's had. But, when we're talking with such short numbers for a couple of these other guys, for Xander, I think it's almost disrespectful for him to be as low that he is right now. So I've got a piece of Xander at 22. I'm not on Neiman, but I do know a lot of people are feeling like,
I stayed away from him too. I stayed away from him too a little bit, but I've read a lot of things. I mean, he's playing so well in Live right now, right?
Terrible major history. Then finally grabbed the top 10 at the PGA. And there's a number of players that have been in that category that have got the top 10 and then won coming back. And your guy, Sepp, like there are Sepps from earlier this year, like at 80-1, 75-1. You're not seeing those anymore because Sepp, top to bottom all year round.
Yes.
Has a game, frankly, I think there's a reason why he is amongst that group of people. I don't have him, but I mean, to be honest, I think I would bet him. I'm just like, all those much better numbers were out there.
Wait, was it not a couple of weeks ago, Huss, where I said this is a disrespectful number to Sepp Straka at a different event?
Yes.
Remember, I was like, he deserved, and now I'm seeing him up a little bit closer with some of those other guys where I think I'm on, my board is not going to surprise you. I'm on Bryson. I like your Xander play. If we want to work into a little top 20 here, I like Xander. I like Bryson. Sepp Straka has won twice already this year. He was 3rd in his last start out at the Memorial. He's 1st in greens right now. He's 5th in proximity, 17th in strokes gained putting. So even that's an underrated aspect of his game. He's T6 in bogey avoidance, and he's one of the most accurate players on the tour. And with the rough that you're seeing right now, I mean, accuracy is going to play a major part in this. So I like Sepp. And then the other guy that I still like, and I see some people in the chat already throwing his name up for at least a first round leader. I give him back to Shane Lowry. He's podiumed at Oakmont in the past. It's another good number on him. Elite short game, which could certainly help in an event like this. He's been all around it all year. I've been on him so many times. I can't quit him at this moment in an event like this. So I'm on Bryson, I'm on Sepp again, I'm on Lowry. And then I did want a piece of Neiman. So Neiman top 20 and Sam Burns top 20 as well. I mean, Sam Burns has been playing very well lately. His top 20 number I think I got him at plus 220, plus 230, like somewhere in that range for him to be a top 20. And I really like that. So in fact, let me see if I still have, you see what the number was on his recent top 20s. Where is it here? Yeah, two top 5s and 5 top 20s in his last 6 starts. So he's been walking top 20 for his last 6 events. So I do like him in a top 26. So I got top 20s on Burns and Neiman, and then outrights on Lowry and Straka and Bryson. I also have a top 10 on Straka as well.
Yeah, I'm going to lock in a little bit more tonight on, some of the top 10s and, some of the placement bets. But as far as outrights, outside of those guys that I mentioned, Xander and Oberg, in that sort of group of perceived contenders. Listen, Lowry, I think is live here. He's played well at this course before. He's got great long irons, which are going to be really important, especially if you have to chip out of the rough. Give yourself a chance at par. I'm off Brooks Koepka. Brooks has been so ugly right now. I'm almost thinking that a Brooks Koepka to miss the cut is in effect. I'm looking to see what these sort of numbers are. I can't see them right now. But back to the outrights. Usually this is a tournament where basically the winner's coming in the first kind of 15 names.
Yeah.
You mentioned Sam Burns. I mean, I couldn't help but jump on him at 66. And I wasn't planning on him, but you look at the way that he played last week, despite blowing it in the playoff, his game is right there. But the other guy that I think has huge value right now that is live and could win this is Keegan Bradley.
Ooh.
And Keegan Bradley, I was expecting a 50 or so. I've seen 66 to 1 on Keegan right now. And he's also a guy that I'll probably jump in a little bit on the first round market. He's less. I'm seeing 50 here, along with guys like Corey Connors. Harris English is another guy that I've seen a lot of people sort of say, sneaky guy that, could be in the mix later on. But Keegan's pretty consistent. This isn't about getting eagles and birdies. It's about hitting it straight, getting it on the green, 2-putting for par, and getting the hell out of there. And I also think that he's got a great sort of mental setup for the pain and suffering that these guys are going to be dealing with. So if you're looking for a longer shot on the board, don't mind him. And I'll tell you what, one other guy that I couldn't help but put a little sprinkle on, his form this year has been terrible, but he's a former U.S. Open winner, is Matt Fitzpatrick. 80 to 1 on Fitzpatrick, who's just a couple of years removed from winning this championship, is, to me, maybe worth a fin or something like that. Once you get down, I know my buddy Tim with the, Tim Anderson with the Ander curse has selected Tony Finau. But again, Tim also made his play Wyndham Clark 2 years ago, and Clark ended up winning this event. So maybe he is the big game hunter. But when you look down that list, it's pretty lean once you get past 40, 50 to 1.
Yeah.
Me, Burns and Keegan Bradley would be the two guys outside of that group that I would like. And I know Mark Amp was looking at a couple bombs for the first round. Sam Burns is a guy coming off. He's got to come in and make a great start. Maybe he's right there. Keegan, I'd probably put a little something on Keegan. I'm seeing 50 on that.
If we have a parlay that starts with Xander and Burns in the top 20, who would be your third guy in there?
Well, if we wanted to keep it shorter, we go to DeChambeau.
Yeah.
Just because we want to win.
Could go DeChambeau top 10 if we wanted to.
Yeah. Man, it's so That's one stroke. Like if he's right there.
Yeah. I
think this is going to be, I mean, I would say DeChambeau, but if we wanted a longer shot, I'd say Bradley.
Bradley?
Well,
like Brad?
Straka or Bradley. Bradley will be probably twice as much as Straka.
Yeah.
As far as what the odds are.
I think I like Straka.
Yeah, go with Straka.
Well, we could. Well, is it too risky if we take Xander out and just go Burns, Straka, and Bradley? Be a good number.
It would be. I mean,
you seem very confident in Bradley. I like Straka, and we both like Burns.
Yeah, so. I mean, I'll be betting both Xander and Keegan Bradley. So you
do it. That's what I'll do.
Pick three of four, and put it together for something cool.
All right, that's what we'll throw together. What's coming up on WST, man?
We're going to talk some hockey. Matt Larkin from DFO is going to jump on. We've got former Ranger GM Neil Smith. Josh Frey-Sam gets us ready for the Bombers tomorrow. And we will have some more U.S. Open talk with my buddy Jeff Feinberg, who's going to jump on with us. So that should be a fun one coming up in less than 10 over on WST.
Excellent, buddy. We will let you slide out, and I'm going to get things set up and ready to go here for the oil stream. I'm gone the next 2 days because I'm in Winnipeg, then we're flying to Hamilton right away on the Friday. So hopefully I'll see you. I'll fire you a text either tonight or tomorrow. So I get into.
Do you have a call yet for? It's now 2.5 for BC. Bombers step up as a home dog, or did the BC Lions go 2-0 in the bag?
I really like the way the Lions looked. This is my thought process on this. I was thinking about it yesterday when we were chatting with all these guys. I like the way that the Lions looked a lot. There's a lot of turnover defensively on Winnipeg, but it's the Bombers' home opener, man. Like I don't know if it might end up being just a stay away game for me, to be honest with you. Yeah. Because there's a case to be made that I think the Lions might be a better team, but is the Bombers at home in the opener? If somebody put a gun to my head and said, you have to make one play no matter what, I'd probably go Lions money line. But yeah, anyway, it'll be a great game. So I'll see you, man. I'll fire you a text later.
CFL tips. If you want Montreal, get it in. Money line continues to move. Point spread's going to move right now. And actually, we're seeing both of these other lines, the Calgary-Toronto game coming a little closer right now. And what was 4 is now 3.5 I'm seeing in the Saskatchewan-Hamilton game. So anyways, it should be a great one. Travel safe out here. And holler at me when you get to Winnipeg. All
right, there you go. That is Haas Winnipeg Sports Talk's coming up right away. I just sent over our partner parlay for golf. It should be a pretty good number when it's all said and done. We're getting Sam Burns, Keegan Bradley, Sepp Straka, all to finish top 20 at the U.S. Open. You'll be able to find that on the EST specials page over at playalberta.ca. And if you want to get in on that early bird bet from earlier in the day, Blue Jays are going to be swinging into action here very, very, very quickly. So get on that now. Blue Jays to win, SGA with another monster game over 34.5 points plus 297. And then my play of the day, Mets, Yankees, parlay, Big Apple parlay, plus 145. This Lock Shop partner parlay for golf will pop up. Will be up until tomorrow morning. And then we've got the grandest of parlays coming in from the DJ and Den still. And Jay's play of the day will also be popping up over there as well. Use the code. I just used my $50 bet for this month. Put together a little CFL parlay myself. But EST Sports, deposit 20, get a $50 free bet. That's EST Sports, deposit 20, get a $50 free bet over at playalberta.ca. All right, lineup changes coming for the Edmonton Oilers. I says, pardon. We're going to get into that a little bit. And are the Oilers actually being killed by the Panthers' bottom 6? We're going to dive into that a little bit coming up on the oil stream as well. So turn on autoplay if you're watching over on YouTube. If you're on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, it's 11:56. Oil stream will be live right at noon today with myself and Tommy Gazzola. So do not go anywhere. That is going to do it for the Lock Shop today. Thank you very much for being here. Best of luck if you're riding with us tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow.